Hey there folks, this is GreenXI welcoming you right back to Let's Play Umineko. This is episode 115. In the last episode, we had such a good little ghost story, sort of short story, involving Jessica going into the VIP room and being freaked out by a doll that was sitting on the couch until it wasn't sitting on the couch and she had a phone call off Maria singing. All different things going on. I'm sure it'll come into the grand plot eventually, maybe even, now, you never know. I loved it. I loved it just for that self-contained sort of story that it might be. Anyways, let's get going. So, did you figure out who killed Beatrice? Yeah, more or less. Has he actually got an answer for us? You don't mean the head, do you? Whenever you're the head like that, I think of... Did you ever see Art Attack? I might be showing a bit of age there. Burncastle isn't asking about the two Beatrices involved with Kinzo. She's talking about who killed the Beatrice of 1986. I'm not really sure what you mean by the Beatrice of this year. What's all this about a witch called Beatrice? And then this, what we were talking about, and that epitaph too. Isn't it about time you explained all this to me? Alright. No point stringing you along. Let's start from the beginning. Who is this witch Beatrice? Strictly speaking, it isn't a person. It's the concept known as Beatrice the Golden Witch. You mean the ghost stories themselves? To be more specific, even the ghost stories are only one of the elements that create the concept. You've lost me. Ghost stories are normally told in the second person or third person. However, someone started telling those in the first person. You mean someone started claiming that they were Beatrice? The legend of Rockinjima's evil spirits and the made-up story for keeping kids out of the forest. These were combined with Kinzo's constant cries of Beatrice, and gradually became the legend of the witch. Ashura Maria became entranced by that fictional witch and begged for a chance to meet her. And then, someone... Bolding, come in! Answered her call. I'm still not following, but I'll just nod and tell you to keep going. What do you mean by answered her call? Because of Ashura Maria's unfortunate childhood history, she became obsessed with the occult. Someone felt sympathy for her, acted the part of Beatrice and played with her. Maria tends to recognise people by their behaviour rather than their physical appearance. Though Rosa is only one person, Maria calls her mother the Black Witch when she gets violent, and at these times, Maria views Rosa as a different person, separate from her mother. In other words, even when a person visually looks the same, she tends to view them as multiple different people depending on their attitude. This fact puts the scene where Maria first met Beatrice in a new light. After being chased out of the mansion by the adults, Maria decided to have some tea in the rose garden. At that time, someone probably started talking to Maria. Then, when they heard this occult-loving girl talking happily about how she wanted to meet the witch Beatrice, this person acted as though Beatrice was possessing them. On the outside, they didn't look like Beatrice. However, when their manner of speech and behaviour changed abruptly, Maria would recognise them as a different person. That's why her appearance was so sudden. We can probably view Maria's love of witches and the occult as a form of escapism. She believed the power of witches could bring about change in her unfulfilling and incomplete life. That's why she wanted to believe that witches exist. She thought that believing could make her happy. It's true that Aunt Rosa brought up Maria by herself, and that she was always busy with work. I do feel sorry for Maria, but still. Don't neglect the heart. Maria believed for the sake of believing. She believed in Beatrice's conjuring trick from the bottom of her heart. That probably comforted her a lot. And at that moment, the witch Beatrice was born. Someone saw that Maria-chan wanted to meet a witch, so they decided to play witches with her. That's right. This marks the birth of Bito the Elder. All of that about living 1,000 years and being bound to Rockinjima. That was mixed into the story of ghosts wandering the mansion at night, which was part of the legend of Rockinjima's evil spirits. As Furudo Erika guessed, the two ghost stories had fused. Someone fused the two stories together and acted the part. So, Beatrice held traits from both ghost stories. She was the master of the mansion's night, while also fearing spiderwebs. So, when Burncastle asks us who killed Beatrice, she means who killed the kind person who acted the part of Beatrice? That's close, but not quite. She doesn't mean someone acting a part. We're talking about two different people. Just like how, in Maria's eyes, her mother and the Black Witch are different, separate people, Beatrice and the person who played that part are also different people. It was just like Mario's Sorcier. One person would be the creator, and the other would acknowledge these creations, thereby nurturing the illusion. The Golden Witch Beatrice was also created by one person, and then nurtured when Maria acknowledged her. So, killing the role that was being acted out wouldn't mean the same thing as killing the kind person who was playing the part. Even if Beatrice's vessel is lost, that isn't the same as Beatrice being killed. It's easier to understand if we use a telephone as an example. Let's say I call you on the phone. From my perspective during the call, the phone is you, in the sense that it's what I talk to. But what if I break the phone? I see. If you kill the phone, you won't be able to talk to me, but that doesn't mean you've killed me. We know Maria once offered to let Beatrice possess her, early on in their relationship. That clearly shows that Beatrice doesn't look like the portrait at that time. So if the person acting the part and the witch character they play are different people, we're talking about killing just the witch character itself. Is that even possible? Only the actor can kill the character. In other words, the person who killed Beatrice is the person who played the part of Beatrice. You mean that the person who played witches with Maria-chan is the culprit Berncastle's talking about? That's it. But as if that wasn't confusing enough, this chapel is now whirled inside a cat box. The culprit is the cat. There are now two cats existing at the same time, one alive and one dead. Confusing is right. I'm still lost, but keep going. You're saying that there are two culprits? Right. The human who can create and kill Beatrice, and the human who never gave birth to Beatrice in the first place, who can kill the entire concept of Beatrice. Both of those humans are here. Then let me ask, in this Beatrice murder case, who are the two culprits? Let's start with the dead cat. Who is it? You. What? It's painfully easy to guess. Your world is the only one where the witch Beatrice doesn't exist. I don't understand. Both Maria and Jessica told me stories about the witch Beatrice. However, when they talked about the ranking system at the dining table, you weren't there. I wasn't there. Maria came to visit Rockinjima with Rosa, and Rosa was sitting next to her. That's impossible. If you exist, then Leon comes after Rosa, then Jessica, then Maria. There should be two people between Rosa and Maria in rank. In that case, they should be sitting on opposite sides of the table and separated by one seat. In other words, in the world where Leon exists, it's impossible for Maria to be sitting next to Rosa. It was the same in Jessica's story. If you were added to the ranking system, then when looking down the table towards Kinzo's seat, you should be on the left side and Jessica should be on the right. After that comes George on the left side and Angie on the right. Jessica and Angie will be sitting next to each other whether you're there or not. However, which side of the table they're sitting on changes. In the world where Leon exists, Angie's seat is on Jessica's left. However, if Leon doesn't exist, then Angie's seat is on Jessica's right. I feel like this is really been overcomplicated. Every time someone talked about the witch Beatrice of 1986, they were all talking about a world where you don't exist. And in your world, there are no ghost stories about a witch. To you, Beatrice is either Kinzo's mistress or his benefactor, not a wandering ghost. Head loved Beatrice deeply, did he not? I can't imagine why she would be made into a ghost story. Exactly. If you exist, the witch Beatrice doesn't. Your existence kills Beatrice. Are you saying I'm the culprit who killed Beatrice? That's just crazy. How can I be the culprit if I don't even understand her and I've never met her? Flip it around. If you don't exist, Beatrice will be born. Flip it? You trying to say Beatrice and I are two sides of a coin? That's a good way to put it. That's it exactly. You're a coin, and Beatrice is on the other side. I don't get it at all. At first I didn't get your existence either, but I formed a theory about you after hearing all this. The key is that you're 19 years old. I don't remember telling you my age, but you got it right. How? Jessica said you were already the student council vice president when she joined your school, and that you became the president the next year. That means you're 1 year older than Jessica. Jessica's 18, so Leo must be 19. I see. And what sort of theory can you make now that you know I'm 19? The theory I can make is that you aren't Ashuramaye Netsui's child. How rude. I don't know what game you're playing, but I won't allow you to insult both me and my mother like that. Why are you the successor instead of Kraus? I will succeed the headship when I come of age. When I have a kid, I'll probably pass the title down to them when they come of age. Then why didn't Kinzo give the headship to Kraus when he came of age? You heard what our head said. He was used by the cunning elders of the Ashurmaya family and suffered much. That's why he decided that only young people should inherit the headship from now. In the world without you in it, there is no silver ring for the successor. That silver ring proves that Kinzo had a strong desire, which he didn't show in any other world, to see that you became the next head. I can't deny that you may have a point there. The head always seemed to adore me particularly, and I was very young when he first promised to make me the head when I came of age. He was very strict when he told me to keep up in my studies in preparation for that day. But I don't think my father was any less talented. Why did grandfather skip over him and make me the successor? I thought it strange from time to time, but since it's always been that way, I never said so aloud. Do you know why Kinzo wanted you and not Kraus to become the next head? How could I know? You trying to tell me to stop neglecting the heart again? Do you think you understand how the head's heart works? It's because you're the child of Kinzo and Beatrice. Okay. Well done. So it's not... I thought there was another Beatrice. Ooh, my head. There was a crisp applause and a mocking laugh. Burncastle. That was faster than I expected. I thought you'd let me play a bit longer. Burncastle appeared sitting on the altar, almost as though it had become her own personal chair. When did you realise that Leon shared Beatrice's blood? As soon as I realised that Leon was 19. It was the same number as the baby from 19 years ago, the hint that appeared in the 5th game. Didn't that baby fall off a cliff? Leon's the baby who was accepted by Natsui and didn't fall off the cliff. In other words, if Natsui rejects the baby, Leon doesn't exist. You're saying I'm not Mom's child? That's insane. You say that, but you don't look too sure. That's right. Ashurmaya Leon is not Natsui's child. This is the grown-up version of the baby Kinzo got from somewhere 19 years ago. Not somewhere. Leon clearly shares Beatrice's blood. The proof is the silver ring, which is only ever given to Leon across all of the many worlds. Why does the ring prove that I share Beatrice's blood? In all the many worlds, you're the only one who receives it. That means that in all worlds, you're the most important person to Kinzo, second only to Beatrice. And his love for you is clearly greater than it is for his son, Kraus, or his granddaughter, Jessica. And you are 19 years old. In other words, if we look back to see what happened 19 years ago, it can lead to a certain theory. 19 years ago. What's supposed to have happened at the time I was born? You heard it too, didn't you? You even heard it today. And Will was with you, right? You don't mean Aunt Rosa's story? That's right. Rosa's story came out in the 3rd game, and when the age of the baby in the 5th game matched that date, a certain theory became possible. The fact that Kinzo brought a baby from somewhere and tried to add it to his family proves that the baby was somehow important to him. And I'm the child of the Kuwadorian Beatrice? The Kuwadorian Beatrice was the daughter of the Beatrice who arrived in that submarine. But Kinzo didn't think of her as a daughter. He believed she was the same person, Beatrice Reborn. When that reborn Beatrice reached the same age as the first Beatrice and truly looked like Beatrice's double, Kinzo made a terrible mistake. I don't want to hear it. He had a baby with his daughter? Is that what this is getting at? That's how it is. Kinzo got Beatrice pregnant with Beatrice. And then he got that Beatrice pregnant with you. Oh my god. The incest is amazing. So, you're both Kinzo's child and Beatrice's grandchild. Oh my god, that's quite confusing. Imagine your dad and your grandfather being the same person. It happens, I guess. If we consider Kinzo's heart, this is the inevitable theory we reach for explaining why he treated you so specially. He regretted his mistake so much that he tried to make you his proper grandchild. In almost all cases, Natsui's pride is brutally hurt and she refuses to raise Leon. Because of that, you almost always fall from the cliff and disappear. I heard that I was the child they were finally blessed with after so long, and that Jessica was born the next year. If you really never suspected that Natsui wasn't your mother, then you should thank her in this world. The reason you never realised the truth is because she's shown as much affection to you as she did to Jessica. There's no need to thank her. After all, it took a dizzying span of time just to find a fragment with you in it. Mathematically speaking, there's actually a hardly any chance of refusing to raise you. You should probably be thanking me for creating this miracle, not Natsui. Enough with your stupid probability games. Oh, I'm sorry. No matter whose blood you bear, that doesn't change the debt you owe to the family that raised you. I realise that. Still, I would like some time to calm down and think things through. That is, if you'll refrain from ignoring my heart. Sure. Leon took a deep breath and looked upwards. Anyone would be shocked to find that their parents weren't who they believed them to be. Still, Leon should be grateful. Grateful towards the family that raised a child who wanted for nothing. It's pretty interesting. Hard to believe that the Golden Witch Beatrice might have lived such an ordinary life, even at such absurdly low probabilities. Isn't it? I think moments like this are hilarious. Will had said it plainly. Ashurmaya Leon is how the Golden Witch Beatrice appears in a different world. The baby Natsui rejected 19 years previous. If she'd accepted that child, this is the future that would have occurred. However, if she doesn't accept that child, the witch will be born. The baby whose birth was not celebrated becomes a witch. Leon is the dead cat. However, Leon's existence has nothing to do with what you're interested in, the Rokkenshima serial murders. In other words, Leon is the cat that disappears when you open the cat box. Exactly. Leon is just a disappearing cat. But this was pretty fun for a side trip, don't you think? You're the only one having fun. If I wasn't trapped here, I wouldn't even worry about reasoning this out. I think I know why I was chosen to be a partner in this strange detective game. It seems this Burncastle witch enjoys toying with people's fates and sneering at them. Wow, incredible! It's rare for someone to understand me on the day we meet. Apparently, I become something that gets called a witch in another world. And apparently, I'm the cause of some sort of crime. Is that my sin? It's no sin of yours. You are you. How things would be if the coin were flipped the other way isn't your problem. Thank you. Even so, I don't think anyone would be pleased to hear that they caused some sort of trouble in a world of a different fate. Please, tell me, what do I do in that other world? Burncastle? Should we show the fragments to this kid? Will opened his hand, and something that looked like a pale blue, glowing shard of a crystal appeared there. It was a memory, no, a game record of all the games so far. Touch this. You'll be able to see your fate in other worlds. Your faces tell me that I'd be happier if I didn't touch it. Of course. You probably guessed, but the story here isn't a happy one. Even so, even if it is another world, it's still about me. You have both the right to know and the right not to know. If you can convince yourself that the one similar to yet different from you is a separate person, then touch it. Don't you want to know? About the fate you might have reached? I ask this as your partner. Would you show that to me? As your partner, I'd say, look. But as a friend, I'd say, don't. Unfortunately, I'm not your friend. Oh shit. Then as a partner, I have one last question. What? Are you a boy or a girl? That was abrupt. I could see you as a fairly slender boy. But then again, I could also see you as a no-nonsense sort of girl. Even Burncastle has been intentionally keeping it a secret. She made Jessica call you our successor Sama all the time, instead of Nissan or Nissan. But somebody did say it was a boy. Somebody referred to him as a boy, I'm sure. You are quick. People often ask me about my gender, so I always give the same irritated response. Which do I look like to you? In the 5th game, you're supposed to be a boy, but in many other games, you're thought of as a girl. In the 6th game, when Ashurmaya Battler was the master, 2 demons of different sexes appeared, but we didn't know which was the which. In fact, strictly speaking, it started all the way back in the very 1st game. Your gender is one of the hidden mysteries that exists outside the games themselves. I'd hate to give you an answer so easily, so I won't. We're partners, right? Does it really matter if I'm not the gender you'd prefer? You're right. If we're working together on this, I don't care what your gender is. Thank you. I've developed a bit of a complex about it, so I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm all for gender equality. If someone's a waste of space, I'll smack them no matter who they are. Haha, good answer. And of course, I'll pinch rude people no matter which gender they are. We have noticed that. He pinches anyone on the arse. Jessica, Will, you know. Slowly, Leon reached out and touched the fragment. A moment later, Leon seemed to undergo a violent bout of dizziness and silently slumped over like a puppet with its strings cut. It was no surprise. When people who don't understand parallel universes have many different fates jammed into their heads, they tend to feel like their brains are swelling and their sense of self is melting away. Leon seemed to have lost consciousness. I was going to say, do we see all the stories now? And that would be a lot. So, Leon had what it took to learn everything. A perfect piece to be a partner, wouldn't you say? I'll continue my reasoning. I've talked about the dead cat. Very true. Next up's the living cat. The only one who can kill the Beatrice of 1986 is the one who created her. There are tons of hints. If you think about it, they've been coming since back when Beatrice was running the games. Really? I don't know. That's true. In the fourth game between Beatrice and Battler, Beatrice's origin became clear. And at that point, I learned who Beatrice was and about that person's heart. What do you mean by heart? The motive. The reason why Beatrice had to commit a game-like crime on October 5th, 1986, putting even her own fate on the line. Impressive. So you figured out the who done it and the why done it as early as the fourth game. Then what about the how done it? Once you know who the culprit is, theorising about the how done it isn't impossible. Those linked closed rooms in the third game were a pretty nice job. Almost made me feel like applauding. And the who am I? From the end of the fourth game? The culprit who can kill everyone at midnight on October 5th, no matter where they are. By that moment, it's possible to form a certain sort of hypothesis. You might call that the other treasure of the Golden Land. We're about to be told who the killer is, and we're only in the 7th arc. Oh? So you say you can reach all the answers by the fourth game? In other words, with just Beatrice's games? It's possible. After that, Lambda Delta's game and Battler's game were filled with even more hints. As is this game of yours. Well now, why don't you stop stalling for time and just tell me, who is the culprit? At that moment, though there hadn't been anyone but them in the chapel, small footsteps rang out. That silhouette slowly walked up to Will and Berncastle and gave a small bow. So, you've come? Did you call this person here? Yeah. Who done it? How done it? And why done it? I've understood this person's motive. And are you going to give up just because he's found out your motive? There's no concrete evidence, right? You could make a flashy fight of it with red and blue. That's not what this person wants anymore. They nodded slightly. Their wish was to be noticed. Once that happened, they had no need for trivial excuses or pointless word games. I believe that I understand your motive, your heart. I'm going to describe it now. I called you here to listen and correct me if, in your own words, if I've gotten anything wrong. The two of them nodded to each other once more. In your 4 games, I found your message. And in the 3 games with different masters, I was able to picture the strange sort of fate that must have toyed with your life. It left me speechless. In every game, you die, without revealing that truth to anyone. Having this person confess in this empty chapel might be pointless. However, even so, I believe it will give her some sort of salvation. Short? Female? Is not, is it? I won't say, but the shortest. People are only saved when someone understands them. No one understood this pitiful witch, even after her death, even years later, and including the man she wanted to understand her most. It's about time someone forgave her. At the end of the 5th game, Battler finally understood. However, it took him so long, and he didn't make it in time. So even though she's alive here and now, Battler cannot save her. So Battler isn't here at Beatrice's funeral. He won't come. He won't make it in time. This is Beatrice's funeral. You will confess, the Divine Master will hear, and I will forgive you. That's supposed to be Battler's job, but he didn't make it in time. So you'll have to settle for me. And Beto gave Battler so many hints too. Lambda also gave that idiot a ton of hints. I even got a good laugh in at Battler's game of repentance for missing so much. But I won't make anyone laugh. I'll just dispassionately carry out your funeral. No more talking from you. That's my job. If you're ready, let's begin. No one will rush you. Burncastle is closed off time for eternity until your funeral ends. You have as much time as you need to prepare yourself emotionally. The silhouette slowly shook its head. It had come here because it was already prepared. Will nodded to show he understood. Then the two looked into Burncastle's eyes, and Will spoke out clearly. This is the culprit. Ah, don't... No! You can't. I don't even know if it's going to tell us now or not, because it's an arc too early. We got loads more of the game left, I think. Wow. Don't show us the person I want to save and stop. It might do now though, because I can't right click to. That's interesting. Don't show. It's gonna show. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you again in a bit.